whatever we decide to do, do you want us to just, I think, give you a call back or let you know what our thoughts are? Or
Yeah, so next steps. Yeah, so next steps, what I can do too is I can, talk it over with your wife, of course. That's most important. And feel free to reach out to me too and Travis with questions. Like, again, open book, and I still love to meet you regardless and walk the property and check it out. But what I can do too, kind of next steps is.
Hey Cisco, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So Landon Moore is on the call. Landon, it's Francisco and Ernesia. I call him Cisco and Ernie.
Oh, it's such a great name.
So, yeah, we've done I think 5 deals together. These are my favorite clients of all time. So.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
What's up, Landon?
What's up, dude? Nice to meet you. Say it one more time. What is your name? I know it's Francisco. Cisco, like, what's that song back in the day?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know. Been getting that my whole life. I get it, dude. I've been called Brandon my entire life. I've been just literally, I'm never Landon, I'm just Brandon, so I get it. And then what was your wife's name?
It's Ernesia.
Ernesia, perfect. Okay, I just didn't want to make sure I got it right.
Yeah, let's just say Ernie because it's usually easier for people.
Ernie. Okay, cool. Well, nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
So maybe I can just try to help with like the basic thing. I helped them buy this home a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Real recently. They're in a situation that HOA is a little nuisance, just with like they've got a nice corner lot, so people park there and they tend to get tickets. And they have a neighbor just in a bad situation, so they are a little upside down on being able to sell it.
I get it.
Showed you some comments. So, after reviewing, we said, hey, we could wait for a while. Maybe they could rent, kind of talking through the different options. And so, wanted your opinion, Landon. So kind of touch base with you. And so then, I know you've been kind of underwriting and trying to figure out on your end if there's any options. And so, they're open to that, but they have, some questions that I thought you were probably better to answer
100%.
than me. So maybe you mind if we maybe start with some of their questions and just general to SubTo, and then maybe kind of specific talk through maybe your underwriting or any question answers or things you have?
Yep, I'm all for it. I'm an open book, and I can run you through, other previous properties. Like, I'm in escrow for 4 homes right now, and all of which are subject to, and as well as I can take you through the whole process. We just closed one. Actually, Travis connected me here. What was it, like a month ago?
Yeah.
Or something like that. So, very well versed in that. And so throw me all the questions you got, and let's have a conversation and see if it is a good fit. Sometimes it isn't, and sometimes it's a square peg for a round hole. And I'll be the first one to call that out. It's like, hey, this isn't a good fit for you guys. And sometimes it is. And so let's have that conversation and see if it is, and see if I can help you out.
Okay, sounds good. I think the main thing is just fully understanding the subject to part of it on what, what our responsibilities are on that part. I know we kind of talked about it with Travis, like high level of the loan would still be in our names. However, whoever purchased it for subject to, it would just, they would take the full ownership of that property, correct? So we wouldn't have to have homeowners insurance or anything like that. It fully goes to the person who takes over the property.
I love it. Perfect. Good job, Travis. Okay. Yeah. So exactly, at close of escrow. So, this is ran very similar. Sorry, my 16-month-old daughter's at the window, so if you hear her yelling. Very similar to a standard transaction in that we're going to, open up escrow, and the title company, like you do in a traditional transaction, is going to, do a title search and all the standard things they would do. The only difference is that there's no appraisals. So there's no appraiser coming out and doing a walkthrough, and there's no financial contingencies because there's no bank involved because the financing's already in place. And so from a standpoint of ease of transaction, they're pretty simplistic and standard. So in terms of your responsibilities, it's pretty simple and easy. It's kind of hands off for you, and my transaction coordinator will take you through the whole thing. It's pretty simple. But as it relates to what you just said, at close of escrow, you are correct. The property ownership will deed over. Property will deed over to my entity, my LLC. The debt will just remain in place. And in the meantime, I will contact my insurance agent and we will replace that policy with a brand new policy. Because also too, think about it from this standpoint, is that your policy is a homeowner's insurance policy. I'm going to replace it with a landlord policy because I'm going to put tenants in there. And so it's a little bit of a different thing. It's a little riskier for insurance, companies. And so a little beefier insurance policy in place. So I'll replace you on that. The only thing that you're associated with as it relates to the insurance is that your names will be on the policy as what are called additional named insured. And that is solely because the loan is still in place and your lender requires insurance policy on the home. And so what that does is that prevents the lender from calling the note due upon that transfer. And so there's no responsibility on your end. It's just you're on the what's called declaration page for my brand new policy that I'll put in place. And then I will pay that policy. That's I'll replace yours in escrow with my brand new policy. So, and after we close, there's nothing for you to do. Ultimately, the only communication you would ever really have with me is in two instances. Number one will never happen, but the two are if here in a year or two or whenever you guys wanted to go out and purchase another home, you'll likely contact me and say, hey Landon, we're going to go out and get pre-qualified and purchase another home. I know this debt is on our debt to income ratio, and so it's going to show up. How do we overcome that? And so what I will give to you, because lenders love bank statements, I will give him basically what's called a trailing 12. So 12 months of me making the payments consistently, not like no late payments, no missed payments or whatever, and hand that over to him, and he's going to wipe that debt from the debt to income ratio such that you can get qualified and this won't prohibit you from doing so. And so that's the one reason why we would ever talk again, other than I want to connect with you because you're friends with Travis, so I feel like we should get to know each other. But then also too, the second way is if I were to ever miss a payment, you would likely text me and go, hey Landon, what the heck's going on? Because you're going to be notified much like I would be. But that would never happen because I set up your loan on auto pay. And so that's all just going to happen instantaneously on the first of the month and so on and so forth.
Okay. So I have another question when it comes to how long the loan would be under us. Is there kind of like a clause, or I don't know anything built in to where we can say, is there a way to refinance it out of our name in a certain amount of time, like 5 years or 10 years, or is it something that we have to hold for the full 30? Right.
Great question. Great follow-up question. So that really comes down to really the tolerance, or rather, I would say the hold period in which I would be holding and owning the property as it relates to how much equity you have. So currently as it stands right now, there's not a lot of equity. So there's no real option to do a refinance, whether it's even a rate and term or a cash out refinance or whatever it may be. And so we need to gain some equity to be able to consider to do that. And in full transparency, with your interest rate, we would be able to do that much sooner than we would, like a lot of the homes I purchase have 2% or 3% interest rates. I never want to get rid of those, right? Like that's quote unquote free money that I love. But with your interest rate, like I here in, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years might be able to refinance and have enough equity that I can do so and pull out all the equity that we've amassed, as well as all the loan pay down that I'm going to be making every single month with my payments, such that we build in equity into the home, and then we do a cash out refinance, pull the equity. I call Travis again and I say, hey, what's the next one I got some capital here. I need to buy another home, and so on and so forth. And that's what it really comes down to. And to give you perspective on what I'm doing is, and I share this story with every seller, is that my hold period is between 8 to 10 years. And at that 8-year mark, what I'll do is I'll look at current interest rates and I'll go, am I able to do a refinance at that time period and pull out all the equity that we've amassed and go deploy that, because that's tax-free for me, and I can go out and buy another home and use that as a down payment. And I can still cash flow it with the property, and it keeps the payment reasonably priced so that I can still cash flow? Or is that not the case, but prices of the homes have went up over that time period such that I can sell it and make a profit and do better with my money elsewhere. So I'm going to look at it one of two different ways at that 8th year. And if both of those say no, then I'll revisit that throughout that year into the 9th year. And once we get to a point where interest rates are at a reasonable rate, that then I will refinance and or sell. And so that's typically my hold period. I won't typically hold beyond that because I want to take the equity that we've amassed through not only appreciation, but also me paying the loan down or adding value to the home, say like a new roof or something like that. But really for me, I'm looking to use that capital, so I'm likely going to refinance or sell the home within that 10-year time frame.
Okay.
Now, earlier, or in the message Travis sent to me, there was another option because we weren't quite sure on the timeline when we would try to purchase another home. But let's say we wanted to purchase in 3 months.
Yep.
How would that? There was something in that message about something about close and close or something.
Yep, you're good. Yep, 100%. So I just closed on one of these here back in around Thanksgiving, Christmas. So I'll tell a story. So I had a seller up in a town called Silver Lake, Washington, where they had purchased their home up there with a VA loan, and they had like a 2.1375 interest rate, killer rate. And they were moving to Nebraska, of all places. And so they were actually purchasing a home over there. And their lender said in order for them to qualify for that purchase, they need to remove that debt from their income ratio. And so what we had to do and implement is what's called a lease purchase agreement. And so we institute that right away. So what that basically is from a mechanic standpoint is I will draft up a 12-month lease agreement, just like a standard Arizona 12-month lease agreement, and have you sign it, have me sign it, like as if I'm renting your home for 12 months. You're going to hand that to your lender. Your lender will see that I'm making payments, and the payment amount that I'm going to make you is 125% of the mortgage of your home, because they'll wipe out 75% of whatever the rent rate is, which is your mortgage. So it'll wipe out that from your debt to income ratio. You will then need to close on that home that you're going to be purchasing. So in 3 months, whenever that is, 4 months, whatever. Once you close on that home, the next day we would initiate the purchase agreement of your current home that you're in right now. So basically, we wouldn't be able to purchase your current home until you purchase your next home. And then we'll be able to execute the purchase sale agreement of that one basically simultaneously or the next day. And so that's how that would typically work with those. They actually closed on their home out of Washington and Nebraska. They closed on their home on like December 30th or November 30th. And then we closed on the purchase agreement of their home December 1st. And so it was instantaneous. It wasn't like 2, 3, 4 months, but the same principles apply as, if you had a home and selected, or if you had a home that you're going to purchase within that 1 year time period or 9 month time period, we would initiate a lease purchase agreement to do so. Otherwise, beyond the 12-month period, because what the IRS says and what Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who are the big lenders in the world, under their guidelines, and you can look it up, it's called debts paid by others, is that in order to wipe out the debt to income ratio of this loan against you, is that you have to have what are called 12 non-delinquent payments consistently. So meaning not late, no missed payments consistently, month over month. And I can hand a bank statement or a document that would show those payments every single month. You hand that to your lender, and the same exact thing, the same principle applies, is that he would wipe that from your debt to income ratio such that you can qualify for your next home. And this debt would not prohibit you from doing so. So those are the two real scenarios in terms of timeline in which, dependent upon your goals and your dreams, that we would have to attack this to do so.
I think that was the biggest piece of it, which is understanding like our responsibilities, like what, I think we went over this with Travis too about like what happens if the payment is missed.
Yep.
And we're kind of like the bank, we can foreclose.
Yeah, so let me touch on that a little bit. So this is pretty cool. So your protections are very similar to, I don't know who you banked through to get the loan, but very similar to them in that we're going to draft up, I hire an attorney here locally. and they draft up what is called an all-inclusive deed of trust. And no different than your mortgage on your home, that is a deed of trust against your home by the lender, Wells Fargo, let's say, or whomever it is. And we're going to draft up a deed of trust that mirrors your current mortgage on your home. And so that is in your name and my name, such that if I were to ever miss a payment, yes, you can foreclose on me and take the property back over. And the benefit to you in that world is that you get to capture, say that happens at year 3, whatever it may be, you get to capture, for me, in full transparency, you get to capture all the loan pay down, and if I make any additional principal payments on the loan, any improvements I make to the property, as well as I'm looking at this as a furnished rental property, and so you would take all the furnishings and take the whole property back over. And for me, that's the worst thing possible, because for me to miss a payment of $2,800 or whatever it is, against me, where I'm going to invest multiple thousands of dollars. It usually costs me about $20,000 to furnish a 3-bedroom house. I own quite a few short-term rentals here locally, and I have a spreadsheet that I built out that it's going to cost me like $20,000 to furnish it. Plus with the pool, outdoor furnishings and such, that plus the cost to purchase the home, closing costs, taxes, my internal costs for marketing as well as transaction coordinator. So like I'm going to be out, multiple thousands of dollars, dozens of thousands of dollars, that, for me to miss one single payment would be detrimental to my investing as well as my, business career. And with Travis, my relationship with Travis, I have a reputation with him in this industry as well as locally that I wouldn't want to hurt that. And so from the standpoint of me missing a payment, one, it's not going to happen, but also two, from a legal standpoint, beyond, the close date, there are 2 security instruments you have in place: the all-inclusive deed of trust, as well as, and this is just paper, but it is, it holds a little weight, is a promissory note, such that, you're able to foreclose on me, you hand over the deed of trust that I missed a payment, as well as the promissory note, and any attorney is going to say, yep, 100%, boom, and proceed with that. And you take the property back over. And then at that moment, you can call Travis back up, or if you're at a different place and you want to move back in, or you can turn it into a rental, or whatever you want to do at that moment. But those are your protections in these types of transactions.
Okay.
That may be a fire hose of information, but I hope that helps a little bit, because that's not talked about enough in terms of those things. And Daniela, my transaction coordinator, will walk you through what those look like in those documents. And I can even send you over a vanilla template of what they look like before the attorney starts putting his ink on it.
So, I know Travis was saying it would be an if, how, like, to even do this transaction, it would be maybe an if. How, like, let's say we did want to do it. Are you able to do it, or is it kind of, it's still an if things line up a certain way, or?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, and here I'm transparent. So on paper, it sounds great, and I have options. I have a few colleagues of mine that rent. I know that you can't do short-term rental in that HOA. Travis made me aware, and maybe you guys can provide me the HOA CC&Rs so I can just read through that. I know it's 30-day minimum, but I just want to read through it and see and whatnot. But and so for me, I reached out to a few midterm rental operators that are that do very well, that have properties here locally, and I'm like, hey, can you help me out with underwriting? I underwrote it myself, but I need a gut check. And so, I started to look at that a little bit more and what we can do from that standpoint. Having a pool definitely helps, of course, in its proximity to all the various attractions. And so for me, I'm very attracted to the property, but as you know, but I mean, ultimately you guys know, and Travis knows too, is like, once we open up escrow, we're going to do a title search. I'll come meet you. We'll walk the property, make sure there's, the roof is still on, make sure the foundation's not sideways, just those big ticket items. Like, I don't care if an electrical outlet is broken or whatnot, but it's like the big ticket things. And so for me, it's an if such that the property is in the shape that Zillow shows the property currently, right? And I'm sure it is, but it's more so, I just need to ensure what I'm investing in is going to be something that I'm not going to have to dump $40,000 to replace a roof and an air conditioning unit tomorrow, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Trying to think if we have any more questions. Travis, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was actually going to say,
missing anything you think?
no, I was going to say, I can't remember all the questions you asked me, but, you know, it's not a bad question. If you ask me, it's not bad to just reconfirm with Landon, but I think we basically covered everything you guys had originally kind of asked me, but I can't think of anything in addition.
Yeah, okay. I don't know, like, let's just say we did decide to go forward. I don't know what our timeline would be on, because we do want to buy again, and I think we would probably, at the minimum, maybe rent for 6 months-ish, but we're looking to see what's out there for maybe a lesser mortgage payment. Or
Right. Yeah, and I mean, ultimately too, and Travis can touch on this. None of us have a crystal ball, but you know, I think interest rates. You know, we're in an election year, and so I can't predict anything, but it will be volatile. And I think after the first of the year, I think it's going to be in a much better place. They talked about dropping interest rates. What is it, 3/4 points by the end of the year, Travis? Maybe you have, something like that. So we're going to enter into a different market here after the first of, 2025. And so a different landscape in that sense, where, even my wife and I are considering renting out our current home and then waiting until 2025 to purchase again once interest rates come back down a little bit. So, that's something that we're considering for us. And then in terms of, I brought this up to Travis because I am considering it a furnished rental. I don't know what your guys' game plan is in terms of your furnishings, of what you're hoping to do or whatnot. I don't even know what your guys' plans are, but I might be interested too in purchasing some of those if they're in good condition. But I get it. I totally do if those are all coming with you. But that's how I would look at it, because from a long-term rental standpoint, I don't think I can rent it out as an unfurnished rental. I think I need to furnish the home.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, okay.
But you don't have to answer that right now. That's a conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Ultimately, the wife is the one that makes that decision. I know my wife would be staring at me right now if it was the roles reversed. So, but yeah, what's cool too is I'm here local, so we can meet in face and talk in person or meet in person and talk face to face and have more conversations and questions. And feel free, I'm an open book, and Travis can give you my number too to ask more questions of all the little things and whatnot. But it's pretty simple and straightforward as it relates to that. My transaction coordinator is amazing, and she'll do all the heavy lifting for both Travis and us and you and everything to get everything in place and making sure the attorney drafts everything correctly, make sure title and escrow handle everything properly and it's clear, and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we can typically close these in 30 days, or once titles past that point, we're pretty much clear to close at that timeline. So I don't know what your guys' timeline is on a moving standpoint, but how we typically write up the purchase contract is 30 days on or before. And so that gives you and I the opportunity of like, hey, we're at the 21st day, we're 3 weeks into this, we're clear to close, and you guys have moved, or you need another week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, and we can make that determination at that point. And so that's how these transactions typically go.
Okay. And Travis, I know we kind of talked about it maybe 1,000-ish to close. Is that just kind of like fees and?
Yeah, I didn't know. I think at that point, Landon was still kind of underwriting, and still trying to figure out some of the financial aspects. So I think really on my end, that would probably come from the transaction coordinator and Landon when they ultimately kind of come to terms with how they can make this happen.
Okay.
Yeah, you would never have to, in these transactions, have to bring cash to the table. So that's not going to come out of your pocket. On my end, on what I'm going to do in these transactions is I'll typically cover all the closing costs and then taxes and transfer taxes. And that's one thing I want to look at too, is that, I wonder what the HOH, is there an HOA transfer tax? We got to look at that too, because sometimes, like I just purchased a home down in Sahuarita where they had a 2% HOA transfer tax. And so that ended up costing me an additional $9,500 on that home just to literally transfer the HOA to my name. And I was like jaw dropped. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Nothing's changing. So that's one thing we'll have to look at. So if you can get Travis your HOA CC&Rs or whatever, maybe he has those, just so I can peruse through those to kind of just cross some T's and whatnot. It sounds like they're a fun time, but
yeah, they are a fun time.
HOAs are a nightmare, man. I've never had good success with them.
Yeah, we're kind of. I mean, because we have our townhouse and haven't had any letters sent to us there, but here it's just been, here and there. I mean, I don't know if it's just a corner lot thing, and
right.
But.
And you said something about a neighbor or something like that?
It was about $155 transfer fee, and there's a disclosure fee for $245.
They always nickel and dime.
So yeah, prorated. I mean, it's probably a little bit more than that now, but probably around $500 for that. All those.
Oh, okay. That sounds fair. I mean, that's reasonable at least. What do they do? What do they just cover? Like the general general areas of the community?
Yeah, pretty much just the common areas. They keep up with the landscaping in the common areas.
Got it. Okay.
The owner is responsible for like the front, like not having any weeds or anything growing in the front over a certain amount of maybe inches. I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Makes sense.
We have grass right now. I'm pretty sure you've probably seen the photos.
I just saw the photos on Zillow, so I assume that's I don't know.
Yeah, those same photos. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty much still the same. I mean, we did plant a couple different shrubs in the front.
Sure.
Re-rocked the front. It's probably a little nicer now than back then. Yeah, definitely a little nicer in the front. But outside of that, everything's still pretty much the same. I mean,
and they actually
paint colors.
Carpet in everywhere too. They've done
carpet
a great job like fixing and flipping all these homes. This one they just haven't totally executed the business plan because it got kind of quick where they wanted to get out of this.
I get it.
Still, so it's gonna be clean knowing these guys. So it's not like something like I'm sure you've purchased before where you really have to go in there and do a lot of work.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure this one's gonna be rather on the better side of things than you've seen.
Yeah, we're in escrow right now for a property up in Vancouver, Washington, that we're actually going to be turning into an all-women's sober living facility. So we're going to be able to house. It's currently a 4-bedroom, but we're going to turn it into a 6-bedroom and get 11 women in the home, and adding those bedrooms plus all the other little knick-knacky things that we have to change. Like our rehab budget is close to $30-40K just on the little things to get it rent ready. Of course, there's a lot of that is by choice, but there's some homes that we have to make considerable changes. There's a duplex right now that we have quoted in Raleigh, North Carolina. Actually, I should show it to you, Travis. But you're a Carolina guy now. But it's a duplex over there that it needs about 15 to 20K of rehab to get it rent ready to put some long-term tenants in there. Little things like that. Based on the photos, this thing is beautiful. And I guess how old is do you know anything about the pool equipment or the plaster of the pool? What condition that's in?
Well, the pool equipment because I had to replace the pool pump.
Okay.
Last summer, so it's a brand new pump. The filter and all that stuff is the original, like the big egg looking thing.
Oh, like a sand filter?
Yeah, that part is still like the original one.
Got it.
The pool deck, there's a couple of cracks on the pool deck.
Sure.
And I'm trying to think what else. I mean, yeah, I mean, we tried. We had an acid wash, but they said that it's good, but you might have to, maybe, what do you say, like re-plaster it if you wanted to go that route.
Yep.
Yeah, so we drained it and they tried to acid wash it, so it's just been drained and refilled.
Okay, cool.
So it's got new water and all of that.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing, I mean, that it does have, I believe, the original air conditioning. It's been going strong, I guess. I haven't had any issues with it.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. It's been great. I mean, it held up fine.
Right. I mean, single story home.
Yeah, and we stay up on replacing the filters.
Oh, sure.
Like,
Yeah.
pretty frequently, just to help the life of the.
Of course.
Here and that.
I am horrible with that when it comes to like our rental properties. I get caught up in my world, and I need to like set a timer or like a reminder in my calendar to go do that, because it ends up being my Airbnb cleaner who reminds me of like, hey, I think it's about time we do this filter. It sounds like there is a tornado happening heading up to your air conditioning unit. So
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
okay.
I had another question. So, if we buy, and let's say we buy a second home 2 years down the line, and then a third home, like, 4 years down the line, is the buying process going to be a little harder because of this being under a SubTo or a wraparound, or is it going to be just kind of the same kind of normal stuff?
I mean, it's going to show up on your debt to income ratio. However, with us providing you the bank statement showing that someone else is making the payments that we would provide you to a lender, it's going to wipe this from your debt to income. The only more cumbersome part is that you'll just simply have to provide, likely whenever that time is, the 12 most recent payments. So, if you bought at year 1 and then again at year 3, you'll likely just say, hey, Landon, I need updated 12 for the property, and then I'll just give you the bank statements for those that show that I'm the one making the payments from my account with my name or my LLC on it.
Okay, so we just have to contact you.
Yeah, and Travis can give you my number. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Like I have I purchased a home 2 years ago, and the sellers went out and purchased a home using his VA loan, and he reached out to me via the agent, and I provided them the 12-month bank statement for that, and the lender approved it right away. So, I mean, I will tell you, some lenders are knuckleheads and cause more grief because they just don't understand what's going on. So if you need a referral for a lender, it sounds like you guys are home buyers, and so you probably have a favorite lender, but if you need one, definitely reach out, because I have a really good one who's nuanced with these types of transactions. He actually is the senior loan officer for a large bank here in the United States, and in his what he calls his Batman hours is he actually purchases all of his rental properties using SubTo and seller finance. So he's doing this actively as his own rental portfolio, and then writing up loans and doing stuff. Him and I do Zooms all the time together with sellers, going over VA entitlements and all other DTI stuff. So
okay. Hey Travis, you think Damien does he kind of know about this stuff? Do you know from?
Yeah, I don't know previously. I mean, I know Damien's pretty well versed in a lot of these things, but I would just ask him, straight up. I actually haven't done a deal with him since the last time your last deal, I think.
Oh, okay.
Have I met Damien?
Yeah. No, I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And how does that work if, let's say we are going to try and buy a house in 3 months, and we need the lease agreement? Is that something you're like transparent with?
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think
But I guess us with let's say Damien. Like, what do you think about that, Travis? You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean with Damien? Just like that you're like, or like any lender, right? You're gonna
like the lease agreement, like that it's actually a SubTo, or we're just doing the lease agreement for underwriting and all of that, and then we're gonna resell it back and like that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got to think about that. I don't know the guidance I would have there. Or I guess Landon, have you had that question posed?
Yeah. Typically, in those circumstances, all a lender cares about, is he your lender? Is that who this guy is?
Yes.
Okay, loan officer. So, all a lender should care about, it's written in the guidelines such that some cause a stink, but all they care about is seeing not notarized, but a signed lease agreement. And then some will want, and we would just have to do this, is to see either the first month's or the security deposit in your bank account from me. And so you would show him basically, you would show him a bank statement with me wiring you or Venmoing you or whatever it may be, Zelling you money for the first month's rent or the security deposit, and then you show him the lease agreement, and he's going to remove that from your debt to income. And if I ever need to get him to talk to my senior loan officer, I can certainly connect them to as well.
Okay. Yeah, we've had to do that with the other property we bought because we have a rental, so we had to do the lease agreement.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we had to show them the deposit check, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, security deposit or something. Yeah, it's either one of them. It doesn't matter. I think that's all they care about.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Gotcha.
And the biggest thing too, this is just to give you guys more information because you guys are pretty savvy, is that the key, if you notice, the key word I used was lease purchase agreement, whereas you've probably heard of lease option agreement, where, you could technically rent out your home on a lease option such that they rent the home for 3 years, and at that 3-year mark, they have unsolicited opportunity to purchase the home to whatever it appraises at, but they have the option to do so. Whereas in a lease purchase agreement, that obligates me, your buyer, whomever that is, even if it's not me, if it's someone else buying this way, it obligates the end buyer to purchase the home. They have to fulfill the purchase sale agreement within the 12-month period of the lease agreement. And so, just so you know, from a security standpoint, is that, say we, did a lease agreement for 3 months, and at that time it obligates me to purchase the home. It doesn't give me the option to say, nah, I'm good, and now you have 2 mortgages.
Okay.
If that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So that just protects you too. Yeah. So there's a lot of protections in place and thought through things to protect you as the seller on these, so you're not running into instances where a lot of the sellers that I purchase from have already moved out and they've moved into new homes. Either they purchase or they're renting, and they're like, I can't do 2 payments. And so, I don't know many people who can do multiple payments right now in this market. And so, that's something that we definitely protect against.
Yeah. All right. Did you, whatever we decide to do, did you want us to just, give you a call back or let you know what our thoughts are? Or?
Yeah, so next steps. What I can do too is I can, talk it over with your wife, of course. That's most important, and feel free to reach out to me too and Travis with questions. Again, open book, and I still love to meet you regardless and walk the property and check it out. But what I can do too, kind of next steps is kind of come up with a game plan in terms of what my rental strategy will be. And then draft up a purchase offer to you. I'll email it to Travis, and he can present it to you, and see if it's a good fit. And if it is, you give the thumbs up. We can put a purchase sale agreement together and go under contract, and then open up escrow with a title company here locally, and then now we're underway. And so, but yeah, definitely talk to the wife and talk it over, and go to YouTube and go to Google and whatnot. But feel free to ask questions too, to get further clarification on things that maybe you research or whatever, and I can help you in terms of, kind of, I guess, dumbing down what they say on the Webster's dictionary online. You know what I mean? There's a lot of lawyer words online, but just let me know how I can help.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Of course, man.
Yeah, it's more. It definitely makes a lot of sense with you explaining it and breaking it down and all that. So
good. I'm glad that helps.
A lot of clarification. Yeah.
And also too, like with you guys being investors and whatnot, I would love to, you know, especially with Daniela, my transaction coordinator too, and whatnot, I'd love to help guide you not only through this one here, but for your own future acquisition strategy for homes. You know, maybe your next home you purchase this exact way, such that, you know, we find you a home here in the next year or two that you purchase like this, and you know, you save up your down payment and use that down payment to purchase a home with someone else's mortgage payment and mortgage interest rate in place, so you don't have to come up with that 20% down payment.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we'd probably be interested in that for sure. Just different investment strategies.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll get in contact back with you. It sounds like, I don't know, it sounds really good actually.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's talk with the wife, please. Sleep on it. Zero pressure whatsoever. But feel free to, if you have more questions, text me or text Travis and group text or whatever you want. And in the meantime, tomorrow, what I'll do is kind of confirm what I'm going to do, and then I'll draft up a purchase offer to get over to Travis to present to you and see if it's something we want to move forward with.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome, y'all. Thank you guys for your time.
Okay, thanks, Landon.
You guys have a good
Thanks.
evening. Bye-bye.
All right, just go. Have a good night. Talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Travis. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. In that call right there, all right, in this call, you're going to see a three-way phone call from a friend of mine who texted me to... All right, guys, in this call right here, you're going to see a three-way phone call between two sellers, husband and wife, and their representative, their agent that they've bought 5 different homes with, as well as investment properties with, and myself, talking about selling me their home, what's called subject to, where I'm going to be taking over their payments on their home. And you're going to get to hear all about all of the debt to income ratio questions, what if I miss a payment, and all of the nuances of these transactions. I hope you guys get tremendous value out of this. And if you do, please leave a comment down below and let me know what your biggest nugget was, your biggest takeaway. And I want to help you guys buy your first rental property or your home through creative finance. So let me know how I can help you do that, and let's make it happen.